Hi guys, just before I started my video I just wanted to say a quick few things. Obviously you guys will know that I've taken a little bit of a break from making these videos for a while now. Not that long ago I lost someone quite close to me, and I just needed some time just to kind of get back together and kind of just take a breather and just let everything kind of sink in and take my time with everything with the situation. And I just wanted to quickly say before I did get into my video that we need to just keep talking together. We need to keep working together. Mental health is a serious issue. It's a big issue. It's something that, especially in these times during lockdown, that people have struggled with, and we just got to keep working together, keep checking up on each other, keep working together. I know some people think me doing messages like this in the grand scheme of things doesn't mean anything, but hopefully it just helps one person. Just keep talking, keep checking up on each other, keep doing things you can for these mental health charities, raise a bit of money. The more awareness we get, the more things that hopefully we can spot when things aren't right, and just let people know that we can get through anything together, no matter what you're going through. Your mates, your family, your friends, people outside of your natural environment, they can help you, they can get you through any situation, and no situation is too severe to not be saved. So that's all I want to say. I'm always open. All my social medias I'll put in below, and I'm always open for a message whenever you guys want to talk about anything. I hope we can keep working together, keep looking after each other, and yeah. Wow. I don't know what to say. Alright people, how are we doing? Hope we're all well. Obviously had a bit of a break, so thanks for allowing me to have my time off, and it's great to be back in front of the camera and talking to you guys. And I wasn't expecting this to be my first video back, but after what happened last night, I had to delve into a video. Honestly, I can't get over what happened. Greatest game of rugby I've ever seen in my life, and I've slept on it, I've thought about it, and I honestly still can't think of a better game. 2003, I wasn't really old enough. I would have been 3 or 4 years old. Obviously for me, being a Tigers fan, Jordan Crane's winning penalty kick against Cardiff Blues in the Heineken Cup semi is one that's close to my heart, but I just don't think that betters last night. It was incredible. I don't want this to be a thing that, I'm sure no Welsh fans are watching this anyway, but I don't want this to be a thing that, this English fans loved it because the Welsh have been pipped to the Grand Slam. Honestly, just as a neutral fan, what an incredible game of rugby. I said before the game I didn't mind who won, I just wanted to see a good game, and it was unreal. I know you guys think that, I know I've had hundreds of messages from people being like, unreal, but that was crazy. What a crazy game. First of all, look, me in particular with a lot of sport, and I know a lot of people give a lot of grief to referees and officiators around the world in sport, and I've got to put my hands up and say Luke Pearce, Wayne Barnes and the rest of the team were incredible last night. So they were superb, and yeah, what a game. Let's quickly go through and have a little rewind of what happened last night in that dramatic Six Nations finish between France and Wales. So obviously going into last night, it was a huge game for both teams. Obviously Wales had won 4 from 4 and were going for that Grand Slam in France, away from home. A huge ask, but a huge opportunity for Wales to win a Grand Slam. They haven't done for a while now, and they look really up for it. Obviously the French had lost against the English last time out and had one of their games postponed by COVID against Scotland, so they knew they had to win this week, have a few points difference and bonus points go their way as well to have a sniff of winning it next weekend against Scotland. And they came out firing. 5 minutes in, we saw big boy Taufifina, hopefully pronounce his name right there, bust over the line for France to get over and get a 7-point early lead. It looked like it was always going to be a kind of back and forth game, a lot of tries, obviously 2 back lines which are full of talent, and 2 forward packs which obviously are extremely clinical as well in the red zone. So an early score for France put them ahead, and looked like it could potentially be a long night for Wales, but I always thought deep down that they weren't going to let this go easily. And we saw that very quickly. The Welsh came back firing. They built some phases, they got up and down the pitch, and then if there's ever one man you expect to do a little busting run through the middle to score, it isn't Dan Biggar, but boy, it was Dan Biggar this time out. A great line. They were about 2-3 metres out. Dan Biggar thought he was going to hit a hard line, crashed back on the inside, dotted down, and that was a 7-pointer, and it was 7-all within 10 minutes of Six Nations rugby. So it was 7-all, but it didn't take long for the French to come back. And I'm just going to take this moment just to share a few words for one of the loves of my life in the game of rugby. I think it probably started about, I don't know, maybe 2-3 years ago. Watched the France game and just fell in love with this man called, I call him Bryce Dulin. Obviously his pronunciation should be Brice Dulin, but just incredible. Obviously me being a fullback in rugby, he's the guy I would love to model my game on. He's left-footed like I am. He has an unbelievable boot. His step is incredible. His game decision making is just phenomenal. Obviously we saw a lot of times last night where little nudges went in and he just got the French out of trouble with a quick bit of footwork, good hands, good game management. I just love him. I've always said I've loved him. In my Six Nations preview, actually, at the start, before the tournament kicked off, I said France's man to watch out for was Bryce Dulin. His name will come up later in this video as well, as I'm sure you will know. But I think he did the French very proud this tournament, and obviously was the man of the match last night. And a quick little plug as well, I did say Lewis Rees-Zammit was the man to watch out for Wales in the Six Nations, and I think it's probably fair to say that he was probably Wales' best player this Six Nations, and if you don't agree, then you're wrong. But yeah, 13 minutes in, French got the ball in the middle of the park, just in towards Welsh territory. Into Bryce, first receiver, nudge over the top, perfect bounce, Jalabert catch, Antoine Dupont on the outside, and he was in under the sticks for another 7-pointer. 21 points in 14 minutes. Another cracking score for this game. Right, 3 converted tries in the first 14 minutes. Alright, okay, the game will slow down now. We'll probably get a bit of kicking battle, a few penalties here and there. No, it took 4 minutes for another score. And I thought it was Ken Owens. I thought the camera panned to him and he was the man that came up, and I was like, oh my god, Ken Owens has scored! And for those of you wondering why I was so hopeful that it was a Ken Owens score, on my Instagram, normally on the weekend, on a Saturday afternoon, I kind of try and put a bet for the day that I look out for, that people could go and chuck a few quid on if they want to. And yesterday I put 2 bets out. One which was my kind of banker, my lock pick sort of thing that I thought was going to come in, which was Hugh Jones to score any time, which was evens. I chucked a little 15 quid on that. Bam, half an hour in, Hugh Jones under the sticks. So that was a nice 15 quid. And then my kind of rogue bet of the day was Ken Owens to score a brace, which is 2 tries or more, at 125 to 1. Look, did I think that Ken Owens was definitely going to score a brace and it was a no-brainer? Absolutely not. But I looked at it and thought 125 to 1. It might be a game where if France start quickly, which I thought they would do, that Wales are going to have to really go and get back at the game, and they go into the corner and try and get a few scores with that driving maul of theirs. And I thought Ken Owens potentially could get on the back of 2 of those. So that was why I was hopeful that Ken Owens had got that one. Unfortunately, it was Navidi who came up with the score. It was a little bit iffy if he got there on the line. I knew Olivon, a few of the French boys, I think it was Fiku as well, was potentially questioning if he'd got there, but the score was given. It was 14-all, and the game was just continuing to roll. I think we had 4 tries in the first 20 minutes, just unbelievable. And yeah, it just didn't look like slowing down. We then had Dan Biggar slot of a penalty to give Wales their first lead of the evening. Unfortunately, also around this sort of time in the game, we had a head injury to Matthew Jalabert. He went off for his HIA and unfortunately did not pass that. So they had Roman Antamak that came in the 10th position for the rest of the game. I mean, not a bad fly half to have as your backup, but Antamak came in. His first kind of real contribution to the game was to knock over a penalty and go into half-time at 17-all. I think it was anybody's game at that point, 17-all. Both teams looked aggressive, both with ball and without ball defensively. And we just knew the threat that both teams kind of had. I think both teams in that back line are scary with talent. And people like Teddy Thomas had been really quiet, and he could be elusive and scary if he got some open field. At this point, the drama hadn't really kicked in, which is kind of strange to say considering there'd already been 34 points in the first half. But to imagine what was going to happen in the second half at that point, I don't think anyone could do that. An early second half penalty by the Welsh, Dan Biggar extending their lead, 20 points to 17 it was. And then the first kind of bit of drama that we really saw in this game. Just quietly, before we get into the drama, what a nudge this is by Tipperick. This is a Finn Russell-esque, this is any sort of world-class 10-15 sort of move. Catches the ball straight in his hands and he just drops it onto his foot. Perfect little grubber through. A little bit of a hack through with Thomas Williams and there's a bit of a kind of, I don't know, kerfuffle, I don't know if that's the right word, but the ball kind of bounces around. Josh Adams ends up getting on the receiving end of it. Looks like he's got an easy score. An outstanding tackle by the French. And looks like he's rolled over, hand under the ball. Looks like it's not going to be a try. And we come to Luke Pearce, who I thought was phenomenal all game. And he gave a few very, very big words. And he said, on-field decision, try. And that's huge. If you ever watch any Six Nations, any Premiership rugby, any rugby ever, the on-field decision is absolutely massive, because a lot of the time when they go to these tries, because there's such a bundle of bodies and pile-ups and all that sort of stuff, a lot of the camera angles get blocked off and there never really is any conclusive evidence to overturn it. So for this to be overturned, there was going to have to be real clear evidence that it wasn't a try, which normally they don't really overturn these unless it's a clear drop of the ball. Now, for me personally, they go through the video a few times, they show the potential grounding by Josh Adams. There's clearly a hand on the ball, and I think everyone accepts that the initial part of it is that there's a hand on the ball. Josh Adams doesn't initially get the ball on the ground, but a potential turning or movement of the ball, there could be some ground underneath the ball. And again, like I said, there has to be clear, conclusive evidence to overturn it. And for me, the angles that we were shown, there was clear, conclusive evidence. And a lot of people have said to me, look, I think that there's a potential that a bit of that ball has touched the ground. And I understand what they're saying, but my response to that is, where? Show me where. Because the hand is always under the ball, 100% of the time, and getting kind of physical terminology or whatever it is, the initial part of the ball when it hits the hand has a slight angle. The angular kind of direction of the rugby was like this, but it's always under. And the movement of the ball goes more north to south than it does east to west. If it's more east to west, there's a potential more of a grazing of the grass or anything. But the more it goes north to south, favours France in terms of determining the hand being under the ball and there being no grounding. And for me, there was no grounding, and there was clear, conclusive evidence. So look, it would have been a big call to completely overturn the on-field decision, but I think there was enough there that that decision should have been overturned. I don't hate it, because at the end of the day, they gave the on-field decision, and it would have been big for Wayne Barnes to look, I think we've got to overturn this. But for me, there was enough evidence, enough angles to show that no point that ball touched the ground. And I think France were hard done by. Look, I think everyone understands that if Luke Pearce says on-field decision, no try, no way is that try given. 100% there's no way that try is given. But I would like to have seen them be a little bit more bold and a little bit more out there and say, do you know what, it's not a score. And look, yeah, I think this was actually one moment where it kind of fired something up in me a little bit, because going into the game I had a lot of lads, obviously English fans, like, oh, come on the French, don't want Wales to win the Six Nations, and I was never like that. I wasn't like that. I was like, lads, you can't really be like that. We've been dross all tournament. We don't really have a right to root for anyone in this game. So I just wanted to see a good game of rugby, whether it be Wales or whether it be France win. But that decision going the Welsh way kind of gave me a little bit of fire. I was like, come on the French, come on the boys. I hope they get something here. But it was a huge, huge score for them. Obviously, they've given the finish, so it's a tidy finish by Josh Adams. Bigger knocked over the conversion, 10-point lead, looking like it was going to be a big battle. And it looked like the battle was going to get even harder very soon for the French. Then another Antimat penalty knocked it over to make it a 7-point game again, and another huge bit of drama was to follow. A driving maul was brought up by the Welsh. It looked like they were going to go over. It looked like it was almost going to be the decisive score that was going to end both this game and the Six Nations. This is where my French pronunciation is going to be horror, but Huha or Hawahu, or I always cannot pronounce his name, illegally brought down the maul. Wales continued to play. They shipped the ball out to that man, Reece Zammit, and it looked like he was going to have had one of the best finishes in one of the biggest moments in Welsh rugby history. And when he did it, I thought, wow, that is incredible. He scored there. They showed a few angles of it. I think they made the right decision in the end. The ball, unfortunately, when he does ground it, just grazes that white bit of paint in the corner, and unfortunately, it was a no score. A big hit for the French was that they looked at the maul. A yellow card was shown to the French forward. Luke Pearce didn't have clear evidence that the Welsh were going to score, so therefore it was not a penalty try, which would have been a huge 7 points for Wales, which I think was a bit of a killer blow to them. But yellow card, 3 points on offer, had to be taken. Bigger takes it, slots it over, 10-point game. You got a French lad in the bin, 25 minutes left. It's all in Welsh hands, and you think that's the end of the drama. Just you wait for a bit more. 14 to go. It's 20:30. The Welsh are up 10. France have still got the last couple of minutes of their man in the bin. Incredible bit of rugby. They get the ball down the field. They spread it out to that man, Bryce Doolan, my favourite rugby player in the world. A little bit of magic from him. He's over. What a score. I'm buzzing. I'm jumping up and down, screaming. I'm telling my family, I told you, Bryce Doolan. That's me. I'm going to be French in a few years and be taking that role in the 15 spot. Absolutely buzzing. I was screaming up and down, sinking beers. I was absolutely buzzing. But we did hear during those kind of build-up phases towards that score that there was potentially they were going to be looking at a bit of foul play, and we did have a little look at it. It was Paul Williams, who, obviously, the classic Guinness fancy man I am. I brought him in this week, and look, they showed a lot of angles. Obviously, you guys will know the big moment. Especially recently in rugby this season, obviously there's been a lot of rules and a lot of laws that they've tried to kind of tweak slightly, that the direct contact to the head and no mitigation and all that kind of stuff is going to be reds, it's going to be yellows, it's going to be match bans, because they want to prove a point. They want to set a base level that these head injuries are going to decline in long term, that it's going to be good for the health and safety of the game without potentially ruining the sport in terms of its physicality, and I think they're doing it well. Look, he hits the rock hard. He hits the Welshman. I can't remember if it's Wyn Jones or if it's Thomas Francis. I believe it's Wyn Jones. Hits him hard. He grabs his kind of cheek side and goes to pull him away in the ruck. I don't think any of those movements are deliberate for Williams. For me personally, when it occurred, when they showed us the viewing and the zooms, I did not think personally it was a red card at that moment. I thought it was harsh. I thought it was probably a yellow card. It was penalty. It was direct contact to the face. And they said it was to the eyes, but I couldn't really see clear cut contact to the eyes. Fortunately, post-game, Warburton and I can't remember exactly who, John Inverdale and that lot, they got a proper magnifying glass kind of zoom in on it. And they showed the angle, and there's proper two fingers, still not deliberate in my eyes, but proper two fingers right to the face, dragging away. And I saw that view and I went, do you know what, right, red card was completely the right decision. Obviously at that point, I think a lot of Welsh fans kind of, I wouldn't say they thought it was over, but they had a big sigh of relief. They were going to be down to 13. Obviously the man was coming back soon, but yeah, for them not to score and to lose a man in that situation, that was a complete game-swinging, momentum-changing moment. Now we get to crunch time. It's inside 10 minutes. France have got to score twice. A draw is no good. A draw and Wales will have the Six Nations in their hands. French have got to win. Continually, up and down the field, they keep going. Pens. Ref, come on, mate. You've got to be getting your cards out. And eventually Luke Pearce broke and the cards came flying out. Penalties kept coming and yellow cards were shown. First to Talupe Faletau and secondly to Liam Williams. And suddenly the game was swinging back in France's favour. Yes, they had the man with the red card, but Wales were down to 13. I think there was 6 minutes left. The French need to score 2 tries. Obviously Welsh had 2 men in the bin and were going to finish the game with 13 men. And they had a penalty about 5 metres out. and Sarah was on for Dupont, and they took the scrum, and I was like, oh lads, you've got 6 minutes, you've got to score twice, you don't have time for this, it's going to take a minute to set. They set up the scrum, there's a bit of a slip or something, reset scrum, time keeps ticking. I'm like, oh no, the French are going to regret this. And they win a penalty, they won the penalty at the scrum. And you hear Fiku and Vakatawa and all the boys at the back scream, let's go, let's go, let's go. And Sarah's like, no, scrum. And we're like, mate, that's another minute off the clock. And it was another minute off the clock. It was about 76 minutes when the ball finally got out of the back of the scrum. Audrey has a big dive at the line, just falls short. And from that resulting ruck, Olivon picks it up, dives in just inside the kind of Thomas Williams soft shoulder, dots it down. It's 25-30. I said it was a big kick at this point for Roman Antamak. They had to win, so they needed another try and another conversion, whether it be this one or the final one. Antamak puts the ball on the tee, takes no time at all really, and slots it straight through the sticks. Unbelievable bit of work. 27-30. Wales 2 men in the bin. A French red card. France need to score a try to win. Unreal. There was just this kind of buzz atmosphere. I was going crazy. I've never been going that crazy at a game where I've not been supporting a team. It was just unreal. It was amazing with no fans as well. It was a shame because can you imagine Paris in that moment? It just would have been amazing. But yeah, 27-30, the game was set up to be incredible. Obviously, they had about 3 minutes. They were going to have to go the length of the pitch. And I kept saying, I was watching with my family, I was like, win a penalty, you need a penalty. Yes, you can get down the field in 3 minutes and score. You can, 4 or 5 minutes, doesn't matter how long you've got the clock. Yes, you can do that. But a penalty advantage, firstly, it gives you the opportunity just to go 20-30 metres with a boot into the corner. And it also gives you one free play. It doesn't mean you have to do anything loose, doesn't mean you have to kick over the top, you can keep going phases and do what you do. But it means one pass doesn't go to hand, one drop pass, one little forward pop, that's your game over if you don't have that advantage. And with that advantage, it just gives you that bigger freedom. Obviously, the French end up losing the ball around the 78th minute. So Wales have got 2 minutes to keep ball in hand. It looks like it's almost going to be done. But I kept saying, I was saying out loud, off feet. I was trying. I know obviously I wasn't talking to Luke Pearce. He couldn't hear me, but I was like, off feet. And that's exactly what the Welsh boys do. I think Corey Hill kind of slips and goes straight off his feet, sealing off at the ruck. And a big blast of the Luke Pearce whistle goes the French way. They've got 30-40 seconds, I think, left in the game. Into the corner, Antamak goes. I think it wasn't the best nudge in the world, but I remember saying, look, it doesn't matter about being aggressive. A lot of people say these situations you've got to be aggressive. That situation, you just got to find touch. It doesn't matter where you go. Just get a little bit further up the pitch, set up a phase, and give yourself a chance. Because with ball in hand, France were getting down the field. And they were continuing to do that. But that penalty was massive for them. And a game-changing moment. And France win that continued line out. They go forward. The clock goes into the red. There's no advantage. So any French mistake and it's game over. It's at about 81-30. They're on the right-hand side of the pitch. Serra out to Olivant, first receiver, looking like he's just going to hit a phase up. And he takes it to the line and he just drops his shoulders out the back to Antamak. Antamak gets it, sends it to Fiku. At this point, it looks like it's going to be a score. It looks like it's try time. It's Fiku. I think it's Vincent on his outside. And it looks like it's a 3-on-2. And Fiku just kind of slows his feet down because it would be very easy to let your hands go and just try and go 3-on-2. But he does well, actually, that he slows his kind of feet down. He draws in the Welsh defender. They then give it to Vincent. And I think it's Thomas Williams has got a big decision to make, whether he kind of goes a little bit on his outside and leaves the inside shoulder for Vincent to attack, but potential Welsh defending on coming from the inside, but I don't think they were going to get there. He ends up having to bite in on the inside. Kind of a wobble kind of pass. I think it's just a push pass that he flicks out his hand, but a little bit of wobble on Bryce Doolan. A catch that 99 times out of 100 he'll make, but in that situation it's a big one. It finds Doulan's hands, into the bread basket it goes, and there's only one thing he's got to do there. He's got to catch it, 5 metre run, and slide in for the try. He could have just slid and hit the line, but he appears to just go a couple metres past the line and then slide in. But I'll play the clip now, but wow, what a moment this was.
France continue to come. They have men out wide. Ficou, Vincent, Doulan! Can you believe what you are seeing? Remarkable. Quite simply remarkable. Unbelievable.
How good is that? How good is that? Honestly, it's just unbelievable. I think obviously the Welsh fans will be gutted, but you've just got to look back at it and go, what a game of rugby. These two teams are both incredibly talented, but this French backline is scary good. Yeah, I honestly can't believe it. And for me, it was just amazing because Doulan's been my favourite player in the world for a while now, and for him to score the winner was amazing. I was jumping up and down, buzzing, going mental. I remember screaming. I said as soon as it happened, best game I've ever seen. It still puts a smile on my face now, which is so weird because I have absolutely no affiliation with France whatsoever. But moments like that just made me think how amazing sport is. Like, that was just incredible. Yeah, honestly, best game ever. I know I haven't gone into the most in-depth analysis here, but I just wanted to kind of rewind it and just let you guys remember how good a game this was. Get back on the YouTube scene as well and just make another video and try and get back to it. But yeah, amazing. Welsh fans, I'm sorry. Boys have been incredible this Six Nations. Don't be too disarmed with it. You still got a chance to win it, which I think is probably a good chance. Obviously Scotland won't want to get turned over easily by the French, so a big game coming next week. But wow, that was amazing. Let me know what you guys thought. Did you think the French deserved it? Did you think the Welsh deserved a Grand Slam? And let me know what sort of videos you want to come and see in the future. Obviously, apologies for not kind of making any videos recently. Obviously, I've had some stuff to kind of deal with, but it's good to be back. I hope you guys are kind of excited that I'm back making some videos, and yeah, we're back together as the Leif on Tour family. But I'll see you all soon, and keep checking in on each other. Keep being safe, keep looking after each other, and I'll see you all soon. Right, cheers people.